Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Welcome to this new topic, next topic. This is something soil organism. Soil organisms are part of the soil that is included in the solid part. That is the 50% we said is the solid component within a soil sample. 45% are minerals, inorganic or soil particles. 5% is soil organic component. This soil organic component, this is again divided into organic matter and also into organism, living and non-living part. So this time we are thinking, or we are trying to explain a little bit the living matter, the living part, the soil organisms present in the soil. So soil organic is a dead one and organisms are living. Soil organisms become a part of the soils, or they are part of the soils based on the size of the microbes. There are two types of soil biota or soil organisms: microorganism, microbiota, macroorganism, the larger animals. Micro, which can be seen in a microscopic, or they are difficult to see in soil with the naked eye, and the one other is the naked eye seen without a help of the microscope. This is one picture which can tell you some micro and some macro animals. You can see the beetles, leeches, earthworms, hoppers. These are macro. Then we have columbola, we have tardigrades, and we have nematodes, we have ostrids, we have bacteria, we have fungi. So they are the micro type. Soil, flora and fauna are intimately related. Within a soil we cannot separate an ecosystem, the plants and the animals. So similarly, soil, flora and fauna, they cannot be separated. They are intricately and very closely related to each other. It is very difficult to separate them from each other. Soil microbes act as a source sink for nutrients such as carbon, nitrogen, phosphorus, calcium, sulfur, or any nutrients. They are the source. Sink. Source, they provide. Sink, they accumulate and build them up. There are microbes in it. There are more microbes in a teaspoonful of soil than there are people on the earth. 1 teaspoonful of organic soil, organically rich soil, it has more organisms, microbes especially, than the people on the earth, population of the earth. Soil contains about 8 to 10 tons of bacteria. These are some of the estimation that soil contains 8 to 10 tons of bacteria, fungi, protozoa, nematodes, earthworms, and arthropods. Soil organisms are mostly confined to the top layers, in the upper layers. As we go deeper, the organisms, the organic matter, the microbes, or any kind of organism, they decrease in number of species, they decrease in population of a specific species. So mostly they are confined to the top layers. And within the top layers, they are mostly closely related to the root zone, rhizosphere. Some may be found several kilometers below the soil surface. This would be a rarest case, exceptional cases, where some organisms, they may be present below the soil, several kilometers below the soil. Most soil organisms, they are small in size, but they have enormous population. They are small in size, but they have enormous population. You can guess one teaspoonful of soil, it contains microbes which is more than the population of the earth. So 1 gram of soil may have 3 billion or more bacteria. This is number. It may have 1 billion fungi. Their spores are hyphae. A quarter of million or more algae. Just see, 3 billion or more bacteria, 1 million fungi, their spores, hyphae, resting bodies, and a quarter of million, 0.25 million, that is algal organisms. A typical forest soil and a litter may have a total animal population of about 7,000 individuals per meter square. 7,000 per meter square. Generally, the weight of soil organisms within the soil exceeds the weight of cattle that graze on it. Again, this is another comparison on a comparative basis. The weight of soil organism, it may exceed, it is more than the weight of the cattle that graze upon a certain rangeland, certain soil. So, this is another key point. Healthy soil may have about 20,000 kg of soil organisms, which may equal to weight of 4 horses. This is again an estimation done by some in America, that 20,000 kg of soil organisms, they may equal to weight of 4 horses which are utilizing that pasture. Microorganisms in a 15 cm depth of soil. This I borrowed it from Journal of Microbiology paper, and this is 2015 data. You can see microorganism, bacteria, actinomycetes, fungi, algae, protozoa, nematodes. There is a number 10 to the raised power 8 up to the power 9, and the biomass could be 40 to 500 per meter square. So you can see these figures. I need not to spell them out individually, everyone, but this is a figure which you can quote, say, remember how much rich a soil is in microbes. Population, this is another estimate that within the top 15 soil depth, protozoa may be 1 to 10 billion, 1 to 10 billion per meter square. One is in a very poor soil, desert soil, for example, or a polluted soil, 10 billion in a well aerated, organically rich soil. Similarly, bacteria few billion to 3 trillion per kg of a soil. Few billion to 3 trillion kg of a soil. Algae 1 to 10 billion per meter square. So a variation is there. That is, a good soil would have more organism, more weight, more microbes as compared to poor soil, desert soil, saline soil, or polluted soil, or stony soils which cannot retain microbes. This is again another table that gives some estimation, number of gram per soil sample. So actinomycetes, fungi, algae, then macro fauna, nematodes, other fauna, and earthworms. Earthworms, you can see this is a little bit easier figure. The number may be 30 to 300. 300 in a very organically rich soil in the soil per meter square. In 1 meter square, 300 earthworms can be present, or in a poor soil, only 30 may be there. The species and population of soil organism may be constant in virgin soil. Virgin soil is defined as any soil which is not washed out for agriculture purposes, which has not been plowed, which has not been disturbed natural conditions, remaining in a natural condition. So it may be more or less constant in terms of species, in terms of their population, but they are highly variable. लेकिन आम तौर पे काफ़ी वेरिएबल होता है because of the climatic changes, vegetation changes. Desert soils, they have a poor species and population because climate is dry, harsh, sandy, poor nutrients are there, poor decay is there, organic matter is poor, so they are poor in soil. Humid forest soil like Badagali, Swat Kagan, more species are there and high population is there. Wet soil, waterlogged areas or wherever water is standing permanently, this is a negative feature of a soil. It has a poor species, poor population. Terrestrial soil generally have more species and more population of a particular species or of all species than the wet conditions, waterlogged conditions. Physical features of the soil, organisms are more in clay soil and loams. Why more in clay soil? Because clay soils, it has micropores, it contains, it holds, it retains microbes. In a sandy soil, they are washed away, they are carried away. Sandy soils have poor nutrients capability. Loams have intermediate. So again, the physical nature of the soil, that would also affect the population and the kind of species. Chemical features of the soil, poor population of microbes and their activity in an acidic soil, saline soil, alkali soil, or polluted soil, or some other kind of a soil which has some chemical observation. Highly saline soils have poor plants, poor animals, poor microbes. So that would be there. Agronomic practices. We said virgin soil, there's a uniformity. Agronomic practices, crop rotation is there, hoeing, tillage, cultivation is there, organic residues are there, organic fertilizers are there, use of agrochemicals are there. That is, we use insecticide, weedicide, herbicides to control the unwanted insects or plants. So that is, if they are, if a chemical acts against a uh, insect plant, that also acts against microbes or microorganism. Irrigation practices, do we irrigate it regularly or not regularly? If a soil becomes dry, it becomes a poor soil. If soil becomes wet most of the time, again this becomes a poor quality, so microbes would be reduced. Soil organisms are mobile in search of food. Soil organisms, they are mobile. Mobile means they can migrate from one place to another place, and in this case, this mobility is upward, downward, diurnally or seasonally. Upward, downward, they may come to the top layers, go down layers in search of food, especially those organisms, those insect, ants, and arthropods, microarthropods, they keep on moving in search of food. Diurnally हो सकता है कि जिस दिन को रात को they have a change. You can see ants, daytime they are highly active, at night they are poorly active. So seasonally, in different season, different insects, they are more than the other seasons. Dry seasons में they would be less, hot temperature में they would be less. In normal conditions, in a rainy seasons, micros microorganism or certain micro insects they would be more. Similarly, high seasonal high temperature is there, so this movement would be upward or downward, controlled by the soil temperature. The kind and population of organism decreases with increasing soil depth. This is another feature. Since the soil surface is rich in organic matter, it is rich in gaseous exchange, it has more oxygenation, but and it is more porous. As we go downward, so lower layers they become less porous, they become more toxic due to the presence of the carbon dioxide or absence or reduction in the oxygen level. So food is less, oxygen is less, toxicity or gaseous exchange is poor, toxicity is high, ethylene production, these methylene production they are there at the lower. So with increase in depth, there the conditions become worst. The kind of population of organism it decreases. This is one example. I borrowed it from certain publication again, 2015 पब्लिकेशन है. तो इसमें आप देखें कि जो सॉइल डेप्थ है 5 इंच तक 6 सेंटीमीटर तक, उसमें बायोमास गिने तो नहीं है उन्होंने, बायोमास 9.8 है पर ग्राम. और इसके साथ कंपेरेबल वैली सॉइल है, वैली सॉइल फर्टाइल सॉइल सो 16 है. अगेन 5 to 15 आप देखें, फ्रॉम 9 टू टेरेस में, टेरेसेस में 4 हैं, वहाँ 5 हैं. और नीचे आते जाइए टोरू के लान देवगोर 200 सेंटीमीटर के, द बायोमास इज 0.081. 9.8 compared to 0.098. 9.8 at a 5 or 0.081 at a 200 centimeter. Valley floor में भी आप देख लें, which is a relatively good soil, at top 16 है और आखिर में 0.11 है. So with increasing depth there is a decrease in the population. This population here is indicated by the biomass, because counting sometimes becomes difficult. So biomass is a good character in such cases to measure the number of the organism or the population size of the organisms. Some 60 to 80% of the total soil metabolism, that is the decay activity, is performed by microflora and fauna, both together. There is no distinction कि जी माइक्रोफ्लोरा ज़्यादा इम्पॉर्टेंट है, फाना इम्पॉर्टेंट है. बोथ ऑफ देम दे कैरी दिस डिके प्रोसेस, बायोकेमिकल साइकिल डिकम्पोजिशन, म्यूचुअल कोऑपरेशन की वजह से. द एक्टिविटी ऑफ सॉइल ऑर्गेनिजम्स इन द सॉइल डिपेंड अपॉन द पॉपुलेशन, मेटाबॉलिक कैपेसिटी, रिलेटेड हैबिटेट कंडीशंस. पॉपुलेशन को ले लें कि एक बैक्टीरिया कितना काम करेगा, नहीं होगा, लेकिन अगर ये मिलियंस में हो तो डेफिनेटली दे वुड वर्क, दे वुड काज डिके. मेटाबॉलिक कैपेबिलिटी कितनी है उसकी, कि जी उसका रेट ऑफ मेटाबॉलिज्म कितना है. इफ़ द रेट ऑफ मेटाबॉलिज्म इज़ क्विक, और आमतौर पे यूनिसेलुलर ऑर्गेनिज्म, बैक्टीरियल ऑर्गेनिज्म, फंगल ऑर्गेनिजम्स, they have a high metabolic capability, so activity is more. रिलेटेड हैबिटेट कंडीशंस, इन दो के अलावा फिर एक और चीज़ जो है ये कि व्हाट इज़ द काइंड ऑफ हैबिटेट. हैबिटेट में ऑक्सीजनेशन है कि नहीं है, पोरस है कि नहीं है, मॉइस्चर है कि नहीं है, सूटेबल लेवल पे, नॉट टू मच मॉइस्चर, नॉट डेफिशिएंट मॉइस्चर, नॉट टू मच ऑक्सीजनेशन, नॉट पुअर ऑक्सीजनेशन, नो टॉक्सिसिटी इज़ देयर इन द सॉइल. अगर इस सॉइल में पॉपुलेशन भी है, मेटाबॉलिक एक्टिविटी भी है, बट इफ सॉइल इज सॉल्टी, सलाइन और पोल्यूटेड, तो डेफिनेटली एक्टिविटीज वुड बी डिलेड और वुड बी पुअर, लेसर एक्टिविटी वुड अकर. सॉइल ऑर्गेनिजम्स कैन बी क्लासिफाइड. अब एक और किस्म की माइक्रो मैक्रो तो हम निकाल लिया, ये कि माइक्रो हो सकते हैं बाई साइज़, माइक्रो ऑर्गेनिज्म हो सकते हैं बाई साइज़, और मैक्रो हो सकते हैं, लेकिन टाइप पे भी हो सकते हैं, प्लांट्स और एनिमल्स. वेदर दीज माइक्रोब दे बिलोंग टू प्लांट्स और दे बिलोंग टू एनिमल कैटेगरी. Thank you very much. We would discuss in the next probably the fauna of the organisms. What are they? These two books are there. Daman Mar में भी है, इसमें भी है, तीनों में है. You can search it. And thank you very much.